Today's motion from the Tories is the height of hypocrisy, so I move the amendment in my name. The Tories have been in power since 2010 and have presided over rising energy bills, but when it has come to the vital infrastructure and political support needed to develop the renewables transformation that we urgently need across the UK, successive energy ministers have dithered and delayed. It has to be a just transition. It has to be about planning ahead for both the short and the long term, bringing together our energy industries, using the skills and the leadership and the workers of those already in the oil and gas sector, but also in the critical supply chains and in developing the new manufacturing jobs and innovation that our universities are currently working on and that will enable us to deliver on our net zero ambitions. And there has been a lot of inaccurate speculation over the last few days, so it's important to get the facts right, not the rumours on which the Conservative motion is based and Liam Kerr's desperate speech this afternoon. Scottish Labour is absolutely not turning the taps off now. We are working in the sector, and that is not what Keir Starmer has said on any occasion, nor indeed Anas Sarwar.
It's not what he said.
Presiding Officer, we will work with the sector and the workers in that sector to ensure the just transition starts now, using our existing oil and gas fields that we have and maximising their effectiveness as we follow the commitments made at COP26 in Glasgow to play our part in tackling the climate crisis that our world now faces. And we are in a global race. No, it might have been somebody else. We're in a global race to net zero, and we are seeing none of the ambition, the forward planning and the strategic investment that our global partners like the USA are now moving ahead with at pace. The Tories are in serious danger, as was said by the Cabinet Secretary, of doing what they did to the miners and mining communities under Thatcher. Those communities are still suffering. We need to learn that lesson. Oh, I'll take a minor intervention.
Liam Kerr.
Well, I think the member needs to address the point that Gary Smith of the GMP said that the Labour plan lacks intellectual rigour. Who's right, Gary Smith or Keir Starmer?
Sarah Boyack.
I have to say it's Keir Starmer, Anas Sarwar, Ed Miliband, working with the trade unions. I'm going to come back to this because it's about serious investment in the way that we would lead in green manufacturing, and the 28 billion that Ed Miliband is talking about with Rachel Reeves every year for a decade, that will bring our trade unions on board because they will see those jobs from day one. But we need that investment now. We've got renewables projects in a queue because we don't have grid capacity. That's totally unacceptable. A grid was incidentally designed, does not address the scale of change and the new renewables that we urgently need now. And 13 years on from the Tories taking power, they have not delivered on the renewables opportunities that we've seen developed in Scotland. I'm proud of the work we did from the start of the Parliament to set what were then seen as radical targets. But it's also bitterly disappointing that we've not seen the work by the SNP to make sure that our communities benefit from that renewables investment, whether it's the missed opportunities with Scotland or the lack of support for our councils to power ahead on delivering municipal heat and power networks and jobs and lowering bills. And jobs are critical to that. But as the STUC said in response to the vacuous Scottish Government Energy Strategy and Just Transition consultation, it falls dramatically short of addressing the crisis faced by working people. And the trade union-led Just Transition Partnership said it's imperative that we have a strategy that meets our climate demands and ends fuel poverty. Instead, we have a restatement of existing policies. On the most important matters, it asks questions rather than taking positions. We need action now, and it is not good enough from either the Tories or the SNP because we've not had the focus on the jobs we need in our communities, bringing people's existing gas and electricity costs down. That means investing in retrofitting our homes and our buildings, developing heat and power networks that deliver real community benefits. I will indeed.
Ms Boyack is in her last 30 seconds.
I'll be very brief. On jobs, does she accept the £200 million investment that is coming to Scotland from Sumitomo will bring 150 jobs? It's just the start of the supply chain pipeline that is coming from Scotland.
Sarah Boyack.
It's nowhere near ambitious enough, and that's the difference with Labour's Green Prosperity Plan. It will deliver the jobs and the investment in Scotland at scale that we need now. Value for money to taxpayers. It will deliver energy security going forward, a partnership between government, business and workers, developing low-carbon renewables, solar, wind, wave and tidal, using all the resources in our existing oil and gas fields and the skills of our oil and gas workforce in Grangemouth. We cannot fall behind. The 35% of our households living in fuel poverty need action now.
Thank
we
you,
need
Ms
to get
Boyack.
moving,
I now
and Labour is
call on
committed to that
Liam
action.
MacArthur.